Welcome children, happy day all of you, and I am very pleased to meet you in this particular situation where the district educational officer asked us to conduct a revision program to achieve more grades in SSC examinations. So confined to biology, let us discuss the concepts that are there in each and every chapter for revision sake. I think you people already completed the syllabus, we also completed the revision, and we also written the pre-final examinations in this context. So within few days we are going to write the examinations. So that's why we are conducting the revision classes in this particular slot. Okay, let us take the first unit. The first unit is nutrition. In this particular concept, so we will go page wise. This is obviously called as page wise preparation. By means of this particular one, you won't able to lose any type of concepts. Let me take autotrophs and heterotrophs. What are autotrophs and what are heterotrophs, and what are the differences between autotrophs and heterotrophs, and then photosynthesis and its definition. You have to write the photosynthesis and its definition with the chemical equation. Without chemical equation, the marks will not be counted. So whenever you write photosynthesis definition, you have to write the chemical equation also, that is C6H12O6. Then let me move to the iodine test. What is iodine test and what is the use of iodine test? Then what is the experiment? How you can say that the carbon dioxide is essential for the process of photosynthesis. And one more experiment is there. Oxygen is essential for the process of photosynthesis. Oxygen is released during the process of photosynthesis. This is obviously called as hydrogen experiment. In this experiment, different type of questions are to be asked in the examination. They can take one experiment and they will ask you what is the aim and apparatus of the experiment. Sometimes they will ask you what is the procedure and the result of the experiment. So whatever it may be, you have to write the complete experiment for the sake of getting 4 marks. If it is given for 2 marks, you have to write the procedure and the aim or the apparatus respectively. Then let me come to the next experiment, that is black paper experiment. This is also called as sunlight is essential for the process of photosynthesis. So the next one is transverse section of leaf. This transverse section of leaf is given in the textbook, and sometimes if the question paper is very difficult, they will ask how the leaf structure is suitable towards the attempting photosynthesis. For that particular purpose, you have to write the complete answer. That means, let me go. Let me go to this diagram. So this diagram already given in the textbook. By comparing each and every part of the transverse section of leaf, you have to say the compatibility towards photosynthesis. Let me give one example. Upper epidermis. In this upper epidermis, there are cells, and these cells are covered with a layer called the cuticle. The cuticle is transparent. This is very important to draw the sunlight, and then maximum sunlight is absorbed by the palisade parenchyma. Like that you have to explain. Let me go back. Then, what is vascular bundle and what is the use of stomata? Just I said, what is the cuticle? Cuticle is transparent, impervious, flexible layer which is covered the leaf. It is giving the mechanical support to the leaf also. Then let me come to the structure of chloroplast. This is important for 2 marks. And you have photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. These photosystems are very important for the light reaction and dark reaction. If the question paper is difficult, they will ask what is photosystem. Photosystem is nothing but a bunch of pigments which are useful to the photosynthesis. So they arrange in two systems, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Then the next one, electron acceptors. The chemical material which is accepting electron, that is called electron acceptor. For example, adenosine diphosphate, nicotinamide adenine diphosphate and phthalate adenine dinucleotide. So these three are the examples for the electron acceptors. Then let me move to the photolysis. It is a process by which the water molecule splits into hydrogen and oxygen. Then assimilatory power. So 2 ATP and 2 NADH together called as assimilatory power. This is very important in dark reaction. Then the important thing is light reaction. In the textbook only 3 paragraphs are given, very small paragraphs. If you want to understand the light reaction better, you have to study the little bit more. I will explain later. And dark reaction, these two things are very important. Let me move to the slide which will show. Yes, this is for the sake of your understanding I am saying, because here photolysis is 1 mark and assimilatory power is 2 marks, and what is photophosphorylation 1 mark, and how the chlorophyll oxidize and reduce. So this is given for 1 mark. So that's why I am giving little brief on the light reaction. So sun is the primary source of energy. Sun emits radiation called electromagnetic radiation, and a radiation provided with tiny particles, they are called photons. They are carrying energy. This energy is called quantum. On the chlorophyll, the quantum is falling. The chlorophyll is excited, activated, energized and oxidized. Then it loses electrons. The electrons are losing power here. By means of here, ADP added with IP and form ATP. So that's why you can get 2 ATP and 2 NADH2. So this particular process is called as photophosphorylation. By means of photophosphorylation, you got assimilatory power. Then previously the chlorophyll is oxidized. It has to reduce. For the sake of reduction, it splits the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen, and then hydrogens are taken by the chlorophyll and it is settled down, and oxygen escapes into the environment. So this particular concept is very important. In this concept you have what is photolysis, what is photophosphorylation and what is assimilatory power. Then let me come back to then human digestive system. Completely you have to see the digestive system. And in the digestive system you have digestive enzymes and you have peristaltic movements and what is food bolus and flow chart of human digestive system. Then after that you have malnutrition and malnutritional diseases. 3 diseases are there: kwashiorkor, marasmus, and obesity is also consigned to malnutritional disease. And then you have a table that is confined to vitamins. From that table we are getting 2 marks. And there are sphincters. So sphincters are 3 in the digestive system. One is cardiac sphincter, another one is pyloric sphincter, and the last one is anal sphincter. Then the next one is emulsification. Digestion of fats itself is called emulsification. And last but not least, defecation, converting the undigested food materials into stool or waste material, that is called defecation. And let me show here. This is also dark reaction, but it is not there in your textbook. And this diagram confined to an experiment called iodine experiment or long leaf experiment. By means of that, you have to prove that carbon dioxide is essential for the process of photosynthesis. And this is hydrilla experiment. You have to write the aim apparatus and all these things, and here you should not forget to write oxygen, because oxygen released from the twigs of hydrilla and comes to here. And this is black pepper experiment, or light is essential for the process of photosynthesis. And this is the structure of chloroplast. In this chloroplast itself, total photosynthesis will be continued. And then nutrition law, you have one more thing, engulfing the food particles by the amoeba. How it will able to identify the food material and how it will develop the pseudopodia around the food particle, and then how the food vacuole is formed, and then how the digestion will be there. It is very important for 2 marks. And this is the diagram showing human digestive system. And here, as I said earlier, the total table, from this table you can get a 4 marks question. For example, this table is given, under the table there may be some questions, you have to go through the table and write the answers there. And this is the flow chart that is provided to understand the digestive system. So this is also coming in the examinations for 1 mark or sometimes 2 marks. And this is vitamin table. Vitamins are 2 types obviously, water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins. You can distinguish the differences between water and fat soluble vitamins also and read the table particularly. Then let us move to the second chapter, respiration. Second chapter, respiration, you have to understand what is oxidation and what is reduction. The differences between oxidation and reduction, it is very important. Then what is inhalation and what is exhalation. Inhalation means taking air, outside air into the body. Exhalation means releasing the air that is there in the body to outside. Then what is the path of air confined to the respiratory system? Then what is humidification? It is a process by which the air which is entering into the respiratory tract will be humidified. Humidified means outside air will be more temperature, and the temperature will be kept down by means of mucus that is present in the nasal cavity. This is for 1 mark. And glottis and epiglottis, these two are very important in every question paper. In March or in September you are going to get 1 question for 1 mark. And what is alveoli? It is nothing but the structural and functional unit of lung. 1 mark question. Lime water experiment. So carbon dioxide released during the process of respiration. In that particular context, you are going to conduct that particular experiment. Then what is pellet and what is septum? If the paper is difficult, very difficult paper is there, definitely such kind of questions are asked. The pellet is nothing but a bone that can separate the nasal cavity from the oral cavity. What is septum? This is a membrane that can separate 2 nasal cavities. That is the main difference. Then diaphragm. This diaphragm is very important in the mechanism of respiration. Let me move to the next one. So, as I said earlier, this is the path of respiration or respiratory tract in our body. Nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx. It is also called as voice box, trachea, bronchioles, alveoli. This is the structural and functional unit of lungs, and at last the gas will be there. That means gases exchange takes place in the blood. See here, this is the very important diagram for 2 marks, mitochondria, powerhouses of the cell. You have to remember and recall. And this is glycolysis. Simply in the textbook 2 lines are given. What is glycolysis? Glycolysis means splitting of glucose molecule into 2 pyruvic acid molecules. That is called glycolysis. And after the formation of pyruvic acid, with the help of oxygen, both of them goes to the mitochondria, then you have the chance to get Krebs cycle. Otherwise, the pyruvate stays in the cytoplasm itself and undergoes through a process called fermentation. So, this is also one of the important experiment. Here you have germinating seeds are there. So, if you want to know what is this type of experiment, sometimes the diagram is given and the examiner is asking you people to write the experiment, aim, apparatus, procedure, like that. Whenever you see the seeds are germinating, this is the experiment confined to respiration. That means carbon dioxide is evolved. These are germinating seeds. They release carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide stay here, and here it is lime water, and it will be converted into milky white color precipitate. And this is heat released. At the time of respiration, definitely heat produced here. You inserted the thermometer here and you put the cotton plugs here. By means of that, there is no chance of getting the heat outside, so the heat will be present here in the thermos flask itself, and you have very keen observation. Definitely you can see the rise in the temperature in thermometer. By means of that particular experiment, you can say that the heat is evolved during the process of respiration, which is important for 4 marks. And the liquid paraffin experiment, when the paper is difficult, so this type of experiment will be given 1 or 2 times. This is already there in the previous papers. And let me say what is external respiration and what is internal respiration. Here little bit confusion is there. External respiration means getting oxygen from the air outside through the respiratory tract, and the air will be stay in the lungs. Then what is internal respiration? From the lungs, the air will be go to the blood, and the blood will reaches the cell, and then the cellular you have respiration, that is called cellular respiration, that is called internal respiration. Don't be confused, children. So you have to say up to lungs you have external respiration. From the lungs to cell you can get internal respiration. Then in the cellular you have cellular respiration. Then already we saw the diagram of mitochondria. Then what is energy currency? ATP is nothing but energy currency. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. So adenosine triphosphate is very important in our body. Then differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In every year question paper lo, we are getting one particular question confined to 4 marks. So glycolysis is always given for 2 marks. Krebs cycle, I already told you, pyruvate along with oxygen move to mitochondria, then this Krebs cycle will be happen. This Krebs cycle is also called as citric acid cycle. Then we know what is fermentation and combustion of glucose experiment. This is very simple and little small experiment. And then the lenticels are there. These lenticels are special structures that are there in the plants to conduct the gaseous exchange. And you have respiratory roots. So mangroves are there. Mangroves are the special forests that are there in estuaries. So there itself the roots projected outside and they take air, atmospheric air. They are called respiratory roots. And here heat evolved experiment is there, carbon dioxide release experiment is there, and these 3 anabolic, catabolic and metabolic reactions. You have to say anabolic means they are constructive reactions. Catabolic means they are destructive reactions. Both anabolic and catabolic are going on in a cyclic manner, one by one after another. That particular thing is called metabolic activities or metabolic reactions. Then let us move to the 3rd chapter, transportation. In the transportation, mainly heart is there, location of the heart, and pericardium for 2 marks. This pericardium is very important, and it is transparent and double layered membrane which is covered with which is provided with a fluid that is called pericardial fluid, and it is protecting the heart from shocks and injuries. Coronary veins and arteries, 1 mark. The special veins and arteries that are transporting the blood to the heart, they are called coronary veins and coronary arteries. Caval veins, very important question, 1 mark. 2 caval veins are there, pre-caval vein, post-caval vein. And very important external structure of human heart, Kani, internal structure of human heart. From these 2 concepts, we are going to get 1. And septae in the heart. Septae means the muscular membrane that can separate the chambers. So here 4 chambers are there in the heart. Auricular septum. interventricular septum, interauricular septum, interventricular septum. Like that, 4 septae are there in the heart. Then walls in the heart. 4 walls are there: tricuspid, bicuspid, pulmonary, and aortic. And their position also you have to write. And flow of blood in the human heart and head from the caval veins, right auricle, right ventricle, like that. The flow chart is given in the textbook. You have to write 1 or 2 times on the paper. So definitely you can get the flow chart. So you can easily write it. The same thing should be also done in the double circulation or single circuit circulation also. You have to write the circuit there. Without writing the circuit on the paper, you can't able to remember or recall the important parts. So this is the diagram that shows external structure. Clearly you can see, you can remember, you have to remember here, these are coronary veins and coronary arteries. Pre-caval vein, post-caval vein. And this is systemic aorta. And this is pulmonary aorta, right pulmonary artery, left pulmonary artery. And these are pulmonary veins. This is broad base, narrow apex. Then 8 terms are there, and with the 8 terms, you have to write 8 points so that you can write the 4 marks answer like that. And this is very important, internal structure of human heart. And here you have more than 18 parts are there. Each and every point or part can get 1 point, so you can write more than 50. And diagram is compulsory if the question is 4 marks. This is single circuit circulation. That is double circuit circulation. So the blue thing is pulmonary circuit here, and the red thing is the systemic circuit. And evolution of heart, it is very difficult question. Only 1 or 2 times asked in CCE model. Evolution of heart, if it is asked, you have to draw the heart of fishes, amphibians, reptiles, aves and mammals. And you have to write the chambers, how many chambers are there in fishes. And you have to write the caval veins, how many caval veins are there in fishes as well as the mammals. Okay, then let me move to the next one. Differences between artery and vein. This is very simple question, so many times asked there. And cardiac cycle. In the textbook itself, 2 pages are there to explain this cardiac cycle. We can simplify this cardiac cycle with 3 steps. The first one is auricular systole, second one ventricular systole, third one ventricular diastole. You can write 3 side headings and you can write 2 points, and that means you can get a complete answer for this cardiac cycle. I would like to repeat this one once again. Cardiac cycle 3 steps are there: auricular systole, ventricular systole, and ventricular diastole. Then what is blood pressure and what is systolic pressure and what is diastolic pressure, you people know. 120 is called systolic pressure and 80 is diastolic pressure. And what is blood pressure and what is hypertension, what is the apparatus that is used, that is hypomanometer, and what type of precautions that we have to take to control the blood pressure. So lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is very important, and that is additional type of transport system in human body. Coagulation of blood, heparin, this heparin, fibrinogen, prothrombin. These 3 things are very important because according to this function, these are asked. So this will not allow the blood to clot, but these 2 things are allow the blood to clot. By means of that, so 1 mark and 2 marks, these terminology are asked. Heparin is also protein, fibrinogen and prothrombin. These 3 are proteins. Then very easy experiment in this chapter is root pressure. And what is transpiration? The diagram is given, I will show you later. The diagram is given and they will ask what type of process is happening in that particular diagram. So that is called transpiration. And excess of water released in the form of water vapor, and the water vapor deposited on the polythene bag that have been provided by a student to study the transpiration process. Effid, this is important for one. Vascular bundle, this is the bundle that contains xylem and phloem. So many people thought that there is no vascular bundle in the syllabus like that, they thought, but it is not correct. In the middle of the leaf, you have vascular bundle. Upper part of the vascular bundle contains xylem and lower part of the vascular bundle contains phloem. Xylem is important for water transportation and phloem is very important to transport the food materials. Then RH factor, this is the factor that confine to blood groups. By means of RH positive and RH negative, furtherly the blood groups are divided into so many. And thalassemia is a kind of disease that related to blood and blood loss. Then let me move to the, yes, as I told you, it is very simple experiment that can write, we can write aim, apparatus, procedure, that is, this experiment shows root pressure. Yeah, this experiment is given in the big paper and the dots are very clear and they say what type of process is going on in this diagram. For there we have to identify the drops of water, so that is nothing but transpiration. Into the next chapter, excretion. In the excretion law, hemostasis is simple, one word answer, and list out the waste products in human. Urea, uric acid, nitrogenous bases and some salts like that. These are the waste materials. And in 2 years back, one question is given. What is the experiment that you conduct in your laboratory to study the kidney? So you have to think that you went to collect a kidney from the mutton shop and how you brought that one into your laboratory and how you conducted an experiment confined to study the external features of kidney and internal features of the kidney. So that experiment is given. And the next one is structure of kidney. This is also goat kidney, which is given in the textbook itself. And here you have internal structure of kidney. This is also very important and typical. And there you can see the terminology confined to the kidney: renal artery, renal vein, renal cortex, renal medulla, and renal pyramids. All renal. Renal means that refers to kidney. Okay, and the structure of nephron. The nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. It is the important organ. So in the nephron you have a Bowman's capsule and you have a long duct proximal convoluted tube, and the next one is a distal convoluted tube. These two tubes are connected with a loop. That loop is called loop of Henle. And I already told you, renal artery, the artery that supplies pure blood to the kidney. Renal vein, the vein that can collect the impure blood from the kidney. And this is a typical type of state, that is diabetes. Diabetes means loss of control of sugar in the blood level. Okay. Confined to excretion, this diabetes is different. That is diabetes mellitus. That means loss of control, the production of urine. So per day, 2 to 6 liters of urine must be produced. But in the body, more urine is produced, and in the high amount of urine, you have water and mineral and salts. All these three are reabsorbed by the body, and the body can release only 1.2 to 1.6 liters of urine. So if that particular thing is not happening, definitely you have to say that particular patient is suffering from diabetes mellitus. And here some questions are also there. What type of questions do you like to ask a doctor on diabetes mellitus? Like that, the question will be. Then the next one is differences between PCT and DCT, that is important for 4 months. Then let me show the external structure, total structure of human kidney. This is important diagram for 4 months. You have to recall the shape. In what shape you have to draw the kidney, from where you have to draw the ureter, and urinary bladder and etc. This is internal structure of kidney. As I said, renal cortex, renal medulla, renal pyramids. So this is renal vein and renal artery, and this is ureter. This is nephra, the structure of nephra. And let us move to the plants. Plants show excretion. So quinine, nicotine, alkaloids, these are. So one table is given. Under the table, definitely in the communication, aspects itself, they will give some questions, and you can see carefully the name of the alkaloid and the plant's name, the part, and the uses. You can go through these information very carefully, and you can read the question 1 or 2 times, and then you have to select the answer from the table. So don't lose the marks under question number 70. Then what is micturition? That means a release of urine. It is very simple. And questions on dialysis, as I said, what are the questions do you like to ask a doctor? Then the next one, accessory excretory organs, additional. That means our skin is additional respiratory organ, our liver is also additional respiratory organ. Page number 85 though, you have different type of excretory organs in various organisms. From that particular page, you people get some bits, 1 or 2 bits also. Then plants though, you have waste materials. They are alkaloids, tannins, resins, gums, latex. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From these 5, every year we are getting 1 question. Then what is biodiesel? Then slogans on organ donation. Nowadays organ donation campaigning is going on very much. On that particular campaign, definitely you must try to write 1 or 2 slogans. Then the 5th chapter, control and coordination. Simply it is called coordination. In this chapter you have the neurons and the brain and what functions of central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomous nervous system. So first of all, stimuli and stimulus. What is the difference between stimuli and stimulus? So first page you have the correct answer. You can read and then you can understand what is stimuli and what is stimulus and what is response. Stimuli is there, definitely response will be there. Then nerve impulse. This is also called as action potential. And what is the structure of neuron? Very important and simple one. 2 marks. What is synapses? This is also given for 1 mark. And what is the types of neurons on the basis of their origin? Let me stick on here. On the basis of the origin, the types of neurons are 2. That means origin ante ekkada pudutunnai. Some neurons are developed from the brain. They are called cranial nerves or cranial neurons. And some other one are developing from the spinal cord. So 2 types of neurons are there on the basis of their origin. One is cranial nerves, another one is spinal nerves. Then type of neurons on the basis of their function. What function they will do on that particular aspect. These are 3 types. One is sensory neuron, another one is motor, and the next one is mixed. So don't be confused, children. And here on the basis of origin 2 types, on the basis of function there are 3 types. And reflex action and reflex arc. These 2 concepts are very important in this chapter. Definitely you are going to get 1 question from this. And then CNS, central nervous system. PNS, peripheral nervous system. ANS, autonomous nervous system. Here I would like to make one particular clarification. Central nervous system lo you have brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system lo you have only nerves. Only nerves. 2 types of nerves are not there. Only nerves are there here. Autonomous nerve system. This is belongs to hypothalamus and medulla oblongata. Automatically there are some actions that are taking place in our body. That means when the body is under sleep, you have to digest the food material, you have to excrete the food material, and blood circulation is going on. All the things are going on. No, that is called autonomous nervous system. So first of all, in the CCE, in the beginning of the CCE, central nervous system is asked frequently. But now they are asking the autonomous nervous system. So when the question is on the autonomous nervous system, a little bit difficulty is there. So you have to see what type of parts that are related to autonomous nervous system, medulla oblongata, hypothalamus, etc. And brainstem also, and pons veruli, medulla oblongata, and what are the functions of autonomous nervous system. Let me move to the next slide. Let me show, this is the very simple structure of neuron, 2 marks. And here I am going to show you 2 diagrams. This is one diagram and this is another diagram. So in big paper, if it is given, so there is no bulb-like structure here, so you have to write this is motor neuron. Let me go back. So this is sensory neuron. Here the bulb-like structure is there. So sensory neuron is incoming neurons, whereas the motor nerves are outgoing. So how can you differentiate these two? The sensory got the bulb-like structure in the middle of the neuron, whereas the motor didn't. So this particular bit is little bit difficult to identify the answer in the big paper. So please, and this is the synapse. 1 mark answer. So this is one neuron, this is the terminal, this is the another neuron, these are the dendrites of another neuron, and there is some connection. Through this particular one, action potentials are going on, and this particular junction, this particular place is called synapse. Sometimes, so here instead of neuron, you may have some muscle or muscle cells. In sometimes there is another nerve terminal, whatever it may be. The one particular nerve cell connected to the another particular nerve cell, that junction is called synapse. And this is reflex arc, very important. Human brain diagram you have to practice. What is mixed gland? Mixed gland and pancreas is called mixed gland. Insulin is very important to control the glucose levels in our body. Then what is diabetes insipidus? What is diabetes mellitus? And feedback mechanisms, cockfight. Particularly in January, during the Sankranti time, the cocks are getting emotion and fight. That particular type of mechanisms are called feedback mechanisms. And you have one more important thing. If the paper is difficult, you can get such type of questions. What are tropisms? There are 5 tropisms. Phototropism, zeotropism, chemotropism, hydrotropism, and thigmotropism. First 2 are identified very clearly, photo and zeo. And the development of shoot system to sun, phototropism. Development of root system towards the ground, that is zeotropism. But next, development of roots towards the chemical, that is chemotropism. Development of roots towards the water, that is hydrotropism. And whenever the other animals touch cannot plant is there, no. Whenever the other animal touch, the leaves will be closed. That is called thigmotropism. Okay. So this is a difficult question. Then Venn experiment. And B.V.L cells, these are supporting cells to neuron. And plant hormones. There are 5 plant hormones are there. Auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid, and ethylene. Sometimes the table is given and below the table they will ask some questions, and some other times definitely they will say what are auxins and what are gibberellins and what is parthenocarpy, like that. So this diagram you have to practice. Children, definitely take a pencil and try to write, and don't lose the shape here. With correct shape and structure you have to draw the diagram, means you can get 4 out of 4. Biology is a scoring subject. Let us move to the one of the important chapter, 6th chapter, reproduction. In reproduction, lot of terminology is there. So offsprings and the younger generation. Then conjugation. It is a process that appears in the paramecium genetical material will be exchanged within the two paramecia. That particular thing is called conjugation. Binary fission, you know what is binary fission? You have to write the example also. And you have to write multiple fission. What is multiple fission? Only one single individual will multiply into many. That means one amoeba forms a cyst-like structure. In that particular cyst-like structure, so many fissions are taking place, and after the broken of the cyst, so more than two daughter amoeba are produced. That particular type of fission is called multiple fission. So then budding. This budding is very famous in yeast. What is fragmentation? Fragmentation means a piece of that particular organism may be provided with favorable conditions that develops into a new organism. Parthenogenesis and parthenocarpy. Here little difference is there. Parthenogenesis means false fertilization. False fertilization means without the completion of the process of fertilization, so the fruits are formed here. That is, best example is watermelon. We can get watermelon. In the watermelon there is no seed at all. Seed-like structure will be there in white color, but there is no pulp at all. So that particular thing is produced by means of parthenogenesis. Then what is parthenocarpy? This is entirely different. Seedless fruits. Let me take one example. Grapes are there. Black grapes are there. The black grapes are getting without seeds. You can get the white grapes also. The grapes are getting without seeds. That particular phenomenon is called parthenocarpy. Right? Then you have a natural asexual mode of propagation. Asexual and sexual mode of reproduction is very often in plants and some primitive organisms also. But the plants are getting natural mode of propagation. For example, suckers are there in chamanti, and grasslow you have nodular region, and potato you have eyes of potato, and you have roots in muraya, that means karivepaku. Like that, these are the natural ways. Without initiating of the plant, definitely the plant itself can propagate its population. Then artificial asexual propagation, it is nothing but first layering and then I will come to grafting. Two things are there. Before that, this is being an artificial, we can cut the stem into small branches as we like, as we need. So in this technique you have two types, stem cuttings and root cuttings. Stem cutting lo you have three types, softwood, hardwood, semi-hardwood. In the root cuttings also three types are there, hardwood, softwood and semi-hardwood. Then come to layering lo, you know two types of layering are there, air layering and ground layering. Sporulation, what is sporulation? Important for one. Then this is male reproductive system. In the male reproductive system urinary bladder, vas deferens, these two parts are frequently asked in the big paper. And you have this one also, seminal vesicle. Vesicle is nothing but a sac-like structure that stores the semen. And use of prostate gland. Prostate gland is very important to release the urine as well as the semen through the urethra. That is very important. So this is the two testes are there, and here there is a sac. That sac-like structure is called scrotal sacs. Let me move to the simple diagram. This is human sperm, important for 2 marks. This is female reproductive system. If the paper is hard, they will ask such kind of diagrams for 4 marks. And let me take up the types of spores. Two types are there, sporadic spores and coloniospores are there. As I shown before, the male reproductive system, you have to write the answer and try to write the diagram also. And female reproductive system. And what is puberty? Puberty means what? You have to write the answer in one sentence or two sentences. Then the structure of human sperm, you have to draw the diagram and try to write the answer. Okay? If it is given for 2 marks also, you can write some points on this particular one. Then what is fetus? Then what is blastocyst? Blastocyst ante the structure that have been produced after the formation of zygote, that means zygote divided into two cells, 2 into 4, like that multiplied and blastocyst is formed. What is blastocyst? Cavity present in blastocyst. What are blastomeres? The cells that are there in blastocyst. Implantation. Implantation ante blastocyst enters into the uterus and attaches to the uterus. That is implantation. Only simple. 2 or 3 lines you can write for 2 marks. Chorion and amnion. So in the textbook, amnion is there in first and chorion is there in next. But I would like to write like this because this is outer and this is inner. So chorion is outside, amnion is inside. In between the fetus and the amnion there is a fluid. That fluid is called amniotic fluid. Then let me move to the very important question. If the paper is difficult, such question is asked. Contraceptive methods. You have to put side heading male contraceptive methods, in female contraceptive methods. You can write the various types. So in the textbook it is very clear, children. Then let me show a very easy and favorable question to the student, that is structure of the dura. And here in the parts are not given. Let me say anthers are there, petals are there, and here so pedicle is there, ovary is there. You have to write the answer and you must follow the shape and structure that have been given in the textbook. By means of that only they will recognize that this is the datura flower. Otherwise artistic manner you have to draw the diagram, means you won't get the marks. So be careful on the pattern of shape and structure of the diagrams. And here this is also very difficult question, double fertilization and triple fission. And this is embryo sac. Let me recall the parts. So in the middle you have polar nucleus. This is egg. These are helper cells and these are antipodals. So in this particular concept law, 15 terms are there. See, you can calculate. 15 terms are there. These 15 terms are very clear to you, then only you can write this particular answer. Otherwise, you can't attempt the answer. I already told you double fertilization and triple fission and structure of the dura, then unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers and embryo sac in the dura. That means 7 cell structure under the 8 cell structure under seed below you have radicle and plumule. What type of part developed from radicle, what type of part developed from plumule is very important. And differences between mitosis and meiosis. Better you can take a paper and try to make that one into 2 halves and try to write the differences 1 or 2 times. So that's why you can write the answer. Otherwise just reading and recalling this particular answer is quite difficult. So that's why I am asking you people to write the answer. Then cell cycle, this is also very difficult. Very difficult. You have to write what is G1 phase, under that 2 or 3 points. What is S phase, 2 or 3 points. G2 phase, 2 or 3 points, and M phase, 2 or 3 points. By means of that manner, you can write the correct answer with correct terminology. Otherwise, you may attempt the cell cycle. Definitely, you can't be able to grab the 100% marks. Selection of the question is very important. Let me say one example here. Embryo sac in datura and cell cycle. These 2 questions are given as internal choice. Let me consider that particular question is very hard. Let me go back. In one question law, you have this question. Explain the structure of datura. And in the internal choice law, you have this question, cell cycle. Which question you will prefer? Definitely, I will prefer the datura question. Definitely, I will go for this one. Because this is very easy. Calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. So you can put side heading like that and you can write the mark. You can write the points, then easily you can get it. But when you choose the cell cycle, so it is quite difficult. Definitely, some terms are very important in G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase, and M phase. Then adult education, life skills, and AIDS. Every year you are getting 2 to 3 marks. 1 mark, 1 question, 2 marks or 4 marks? Another question. So read the content that is there in the textbook. Then let me move to the next chapter. Coordination in life processes. Already in last coordination chapter below, we know what is stimulus. Here also the same things are there. Stimulus and response. And ghrelin, what is the function of ghrelin? Leptin, what is the function of leptin? And what is the difference between the ghrelin and leptin? Like that also you can expect. Then process of peristalsis. Here the peristalsis is considered as important because more oftenly it is asked for 4 marks, but the content is very less. For that particular process, what you have to do is you have to grab maximum points on the basis of the terminology. Like means peristalsis jaragalante, you have peristaltic movements. If the peristaltic movements are there, you have muscles. The muscles are 3 types in esophagus: circular, oblique, longitudinal. These points are not there in the textbook. You have to get them from the outside sources. Okay? And the movements are very accurate. With the help of this particular process itself, the food is passed through the digestive system. So that's why the human gut is called second brain. Teeth and jaws, upper jaw, lower jaw. Lower jaw is movable, upper jaw immovable. Tongue, importance of tongue, recognizing the taste of the food itself. Then salivary glands, 3 pairs of salivary glands are there. What are they? You have to write. Dental formula. I will try to provide a diagram confined to the dental formula. This is important for 2 marks. Then what are bioreceptors? Receptors are the particular organ that is collecting the information from the various sources. That is called receptor. The receptor that present in the body of the human or body of the organism, living being, those are called bioreceptors. When the people are thirsty, definitely the throat becoming dry. That means throat low, unna receptors, they are getting dry. That is the indication. Goes to the brain, please take some water and drink. So such kind of receptors are there. So the receptors are responsible for so many type of feelings. Hunger pangs and sneezing sensation, and chemoreceptors also. Some chemicals are also participating and generating some kind of signals in the body. Then I already told you palate is a bone that can separate the nasal cavity from the oral cavity. And here important experiment is there to test the pH of saliva. Experiment to test the pH of saliva. Please go through. Some people are lefting some kind of concepts. Experiments are very important. You have 8 to 12 experiments in the textbook. Out of them, 2 are there in the question paper. Out of 2, you have to answer one particular one for 4 marks. So don't leave experiments. So 10 to 12 experiments are there. Please go through. Then what is chyme and what is bolus? What are the differences between chyme and bolus? Chyme means thoroughly churned food in the stomach. Bolus ante partially chewed food in the mouth. That is the main difference. Here some enzymes are there, here some other enzymes are there. So you have to write the differences like that. 4 to 5 differences are very important and quite sufficient also. And already I told you, if the paper is difficult, sphincters are asked. So 3 sphincters are there in the human gut. Cardiac sphincter in between the esophagus and starting point of the stomach. Pyloric sphincter in between the duodenum and stomach. Anal sphincter, last ending part of the human gut. Sphincters are there. They are in 3 number. Then Willis diagram, obviously important. Physiochemical stimuli. Physio, that means physiological. Parts low, chemical stimuli. That means these are the stimuli means what? It is a kind of sensation. So sensation created by physical and chemical aspects that are there in one particular organ. Right? And Pavlov experiment is there, dog experimenter. On that Pavlov experiment, you have to draw one simple cartoon. Let me move to the other concept. Yeah, as I said earlier, this is very important for 4 marks. 4 marks low. They are also asking the structure. You have to explain the structure and you have to draw the diagram also. For the diagram you are getting 2 marks. For explanation you are getting 2 marks. That explanation should be in point wise. In every point, definitely one term must be there. And this is peristonic movements. See how the esophagus is there and how the footballers is slowly dropped by means of peristonic movements. So there are circular muscles are there, longitudinal muscles are there, oblique muscles are there. Oblique muscles means అడ్డంగా ఉండేవి, ఒక రకంగా వంకరగా ఉండేవి అన్నట్టు. So here 2 splinters are there. See. Here this is cardiac splinter and this is pyloric splinter. Most of the people are concentrated on pyloric splinter. If the question is asked what is cardiac splinter, they may not say, so here the cardiac splinter is there. Only 2 splinters are there under. But no, in the textbook itself we have 3. But in one particular line they mentioned the cardiac splinter. So totally the splinters are 3. Let me move to the next one. So I said dental formula. See, this is dental formula. Let me take ICPM. This is very easy, man. So some people will confuse. 2:1:2:3 like that they will write. No. ICPM. Let us take first letters. So that 2:1:2:3. This will be in sometimes confuse the student. The paper setter will be given, so they will mention this one in a wrong manner. That means they first write canines, then write premolars, and then write molars, and then write incisors. And on the basis of that particular question that particular formula will be written at first you must write in a empty space ICPM, like that you can mention that. Only one time the question is asked like that for half mark. Then the very important chapter that is heredity. What is evolution and what are inherited characters and what are alleles and what are traits? Let me clarify here. Trait is nothing but a character. One character lo a pair of contrasting characters are there. They are called alleles. Let me explain. Tall, dwarf. These 2 characters are together called alleles. Then what is the trait for these 2? Length of the organism. So length of the organism or height of the organism is called a trait. Under that particular one there are a pair of contrasting characters. They are called alleles. Then variations. What is variations and what is the importance of variations? Question is very simple. You have to write what is variation. You have to write what are the advantages of variation. So contrasting traits selected by the Mendel. I will show in the next diagram. The characters that are selected by the Mendel. You have to write the characters itself. Then what is F1 generation and what is F2 generation? What is self-pollination? Self-pollination, the importance of self-pollination. That is phenotypic and genotype. Then let me complete here. Phenotypic ratio and genotypic ratio. All these are very important, but you need the attention of terminology. Phenotype means physiological or morphological characters. Genotype means genetical characters. Phenotype ratio means 3:1 if you take monohybrid cross. So genotype ante same monohybrid cross lone you have to take 1:2:1. So the subject will be fingerprinted. Definitely you can write the answers in a easy manner. Otherwise this is the best time. Prepare what is phenotype and what is genotype. Then Mendel proposed 3 laws. What are they? Let me complete this one. Mendel 3 laws are there. The first law, law of dominance. The second law, law of segregation. The third law, law of independent assortment. These 3 laws are proposed by John Grigor Mendel. These are the characters: flower color, flower position, seed color, seed wrap, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 contrasting characters are selected. For example, yes, just only I said law of dominance, law of segregation, law of independent assortment. Then 4 marks important sex determination in human beings. And what is Lamarckism? 1 mark. What is Darwinism? 1 mark. What is Neo-Lamarckism? 1 mark or 2 marks. Homologous organs and analogous. In between these two, definitely we are going to get 1 question in every year, whether it is March or whether it is June. So this chart, don't draw the father's head and mother head like that. Just take the number and the sex chromosomes, so that the diagram will be very easy for you. Otherwise, so what are fossils? Then what are homozygous and what are heterozygous? Homozygous ante, you please recall the checkerboard. In the checkerboard lo capital Y, if the offspring is bearing the genetical matter capital Y, that is called homozygous. 1 capital Y and 1 small y is there, that is called heterozygous. Then what are autosomes and what are morphological characters and what are allosomes and what is sex determination? All these 4 are very important for 1 mark question. Then let me move to the monohybrid cross conducted by the Mendel and dihybrid cross. Monohybrid cross is already given in the textbook, but dihybrid cross is given under annexure, additional information. So definitely here the ratio will be asked 9:3:3:1. Atavism, what is atavism? You have to write, and what are vestigial organs? 180 vestigial organs. 180 number is very important for B.V.L. Okay. Then let me move to the next chapter. Then our environment, it is very simple, but much more scope is there to get more marks, because all the things are very important and simple and many tables are there. So under question number 17, you can get the questions from 9th and 10th chapters. So what is habitat, what is physical factors, what are biological factors. Okay, habitat lo you have physical factors are there and biological factors are there. Then what is ecosystem? This particular definition you have to write 1 or 2 times on the paper. Please try to take a rough notes and try to write almost all terms. So biology is nothing but terminology. Terminology is nothing but biology. You have to recall more and more terminology, means you can get good marks in biology. Then biotic factors and abiotic factors. Then what is food chain and what is food web? Food chain, number of food chains are interlapped with one another, then you can get food web. Then what is niche? So niche is the place of one particular organism in the food pyramid or food chain. Position anamata. For example, grasshopper and rabbit, and you have tiger. 4 organisms are there in one chain only. What is the position of rabbit? Ante definitely you have to say it is a primary consumer, or you can say herbivore. So rabbit is a herbivore and its place in food chain is primary consumer. That is the position of niche of the rabbit, like that you have to say. So eco pyramids are there. Eco pyramids are very important for 2 marks as well as 4 marks. In the eco pyramid, except pyramid of biomass, other things are very easy. Pyramid of biomass, why I am saying that it is quite difficult means, pyramid of biomass in terrestrial is as usual, but whereas the pyramid of biomass in pond ecosystem is reversible or inverted. Okay. So please try to see the table, page number 202 in English medium. Then what is bioaccumulation and biomagnification? Among these two, every year one of them are getting. What are pesticides and fertilizers? What is the uses of pesticides and what are the consequences of using more and more pesticides which will affect the environment brutally? Then what is crop rotation? Importance of crop rotation. Then let us write some slogans on crop rotation also. So sometimes the question paper is very difficult. They will ask to write the slogans on crop rotation. They will ask to write the slogans on ecosystems and habitat, etc. And environmental ethics. This thing is important. We have to follow. Here, we have to follow some kind of ethics to protect our environment properly. Then metal contamination in the water. So water resources are very important and very limited to our human beings, and in the water resources are also very limited and important to the industries also. Industries are releasing some kind of metals into the water, so those metals are dissolved in the water and they are contaminated, and they are also contaminated our drinking water. By means of that, we are getting adverse problems and health problems just like cancer and etc. So you have to identify what are the ways that minimize the contamination of water by means of metals and waste and etc. And what is the use of biofuels, importance of biofuels. Okay, so this chapter is quite easy, and let me show the food chain. See, this is one food chain, second food chain, third food chain, right? This is food web. See here, these are all the food chains, and some food chains are interlapped with one another. So this kind of interlapping of the various food chains is called food web. And see the position of frog here. This is niche. Position of you see rabbit here. This is niche. That means I already told you this is primary consumer. Primary consumer. These are the producers. You can see in the ecosystems, so first of all, producers are there. Consumers are two types: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and you can say third one also, top consumers are there. Okay. So on all model you have to recall. Abhi guttu techukopote raayapothe marks padu. So this is simple pyramid. Here producers are there, primary consumers, secondary consumers are there, and tertiary consumers are there. And you can see the number also. As you said, producers number more, primary little bit less, secondary little bit less than primary, and last very little. This is pyramid of number. This is pyramid of energy. 10% will be continued. See how many grass plants are there here? 10,000. Grasshoppers number 1,000. 10,000 lo 10%. 1,000 lo 10%. 100 lo 10%. So like that, the transfer of energy will be always 10% from one tropic level to another tropic level. So this is inverted. Pond ecosystem lo special to the only one example, that is inverted pyramid. Then last but not least, you have the natural resources. What are natural resources? Air, water, sand, all these things are natural resources. So population tanks. In the villages though, artificially you have to build the population tanks for cultivating just 20 to 50 acres. So you have to write the slogans on this natural resources. How the natural resources will be saved and how the renewable resources are there and non-renewable resources are there. And 10th chapter is very much important and favorable to the students because you have number of tables. Tables that are there in page number 214, 215, 216, 221. 4 tables are there. Go through the table. Think analytically. By means of this particular thing, you can able to answer the questions that are given under this table in question number 17. Now the trend is little bit changed. On the basis of the table, 4 out of 4 questions are answerable in previous question papers. But last year, only 2 of them are familiar. The another 2 have to search from the student side itself. Okay, then let me move to very important concept, importance of water. 2 years back, I think the children saw the question, what is the importance of water? They don't know how to write the answer. Everybody know what is the importance of water. Let us write what is water first of all, and what is the importance of water in various things. That means in the body, importance of water is there. In the cellular, 80% to 85% water is there. Okay, so to dilute the materials, to absorb the materials, the water is very important. You have to write the importance of water in natural resources as well as in the human being body, and what is the importance confined to the animal kingdom also and plant kingdom also. Then contour binding and check dams, importance of check dams. That means one stream will be there, the water is flowing and adding to the river, that is becoming waste. So the villagers are constructed some check dams, and under the check dam they will fix the electric motors or diesel engines, and they will lift the water to the fields. So these check dams are very important in Telangana state itself. More and more check dams are constructed, and broad bed furrows and plantation on the bunds, drip irrigation, importance of drip irrigation, advantages of drip irrigation. Because water is very precious, we are getting very low amount of water, particularly ground level water is very resourceful. Because of this particular thing, you must concentrate on drip irrigation. By means of drip irrigation, you may able to preserve the soil, health as well as the water durability also. Then alternate renewable power. Renewable power, alternate renewable power means the power, importance of electrical power or importance of current in our daily life, and at the same time you have to see another type of sources. That means wind power is there, and power from garbage is there, and tidal power is there. Okay, so solar power is there. These are all renewable power sources. You have to write a very good points on that particular. Then sustainable development. What is sustainable development? How to implement sustainable development? How to get long-lasting sustainable development in the development of the country. Then what is forest and how you can provide the soil fertility, good soil fertility in the forest. That type of question will be given. And what is soil erosion, and what is dike management. Soil erosion and dike management and rendu okkate. Okay, dike management ante soil erosion ni etla manam aapiveyali ane dani gurinchi untadi. Then what is biodiversity? You have to write specifically diversity that present in the organisms, that is called biodiversity. You can take one particular ecosystem. In the ecosystem, so many types of organisms and types of organisms and variety of organisms are there, that it should be called as biodiversity. What are fossil fuels you have to recognize. And in textbook, 3 R's are given and 4 R's are given. What are 3 R's you have to write, and what are 4 R's you have to write. Both the questions are very important for 1 mark. I think I am very clear. So you can take note all of them, and try to see the terms are very important, and you can take a rough book and try to write the various terminology confined to the concepts and then read. And this preparation is based on the page wise preparation. Better you take the textbook and try to lift the page one after another, and all these concepts are the information will be recalled by you before the examination. Just you can spare 1.5 hour to 2 hours before the day of examination. That means regularly you will see the textbook chapter after chapter. Within 1.5 hour you can complete the revision of the biology. All the best, my dear children.